It started with a garden quiet, green, and full of life. But in one neighborhood, beauty became a battlefield. When the HOA declared war on one family's dream, they fought back with bees, law, and truth. What followed wasn't just about fences or flowers. It exposed corruption, rewrote the rules, and proved that even the smallest things can bring down the biggest walls. My name is Ethan Marshall. I spent 15 years designing green systems for cities that only cared about appearances. After 2 decades of blueprints and boardrooms, I traded it all for something simpler, something real. With my wife Emma and our daughter Lily, we moved to Willowbrook, a quiet Colorado suburb, to start a new chapter rooted in soil, not spreadsheets. We turned our backyard into an organic oasis. Not a lawn, but a living lab. Tomatoes climbed trellises, sunflowers swayed with the wind, compost bins steamed in the morning chill, and our rainwater barrels gleamed with purpose. It was beautiful, imperfect, and alive. Then came the letter, taped to the front door like a warning. Signed in cursive, sharp as a scalpel, Linda Prescott, HOA President. According to her, our garden violated community aesthetics. That's how it started. A few lines, a threat dressed up in legal language. But the hostility was old news. The Prescott era had already brought us citations for improper compost bin color and unauthorized trellis height. We ignored most of it. We were respectful, quiet, focused on growing food and raising our daughter with values rooted deeper than HOA bylaws. Until one morning we woke up to a fence, 6 feet high, solid, black metal, installed overnight right through our garden beds. It cut off the sunlight, toppled rows of chard and lettuce, and destroyed our greenhouse. It was on our land, and it came with daily fines for non-compliance. According to the HOA's new anti-blight amendment, they had the right to conceal any portion of property they deemed unsightly. It was absurd and personal. I went to Linda's house to speak face to face. She greeted me with a smile that said, "I've already won." When I explained the environmental and educational purpose of our garden, she didn't flinch. "This isn't a nature preserve, Mr. Marshall," she said. "Willowbrook is a curated neighborhood. You may be passionate, but your choices affect home values." Emma was furious. Our daughter cried when she saw the ruined plants. I stood there in our torn-up yard and made a decision I would not back down. Enter Michael Green, our neighbor and a sharp environmental attorney. He looked over the HOA amendment, our property survey, and zoning maps. "This fence," he said, tapping the paper, "is 2 feet into your land. It's not just wrong, it's illegal." But Linda wasn't just a rule enforcer. She was a manipulator. She doubled down, sent more inspectors, increased the fines. She was trying to exhaust us. And then, out of nowhere, an idea arrived. Or rather, it buzzed in. Emma's old college friend Olivia, now a state environmental policy advisor, told us about a new program, pollinator conservation tax credits. Beekeeping, legal in urban zones, even incentivized, and rooftops perfectly permitted. So I pitched something crazy. What if we installed a certified beekeeping system, not on our land, but on the HOA's own community center roof? Michael grinned. "That," he said, "would be poetic." We built a plan. We backed it with scientific data, environmental benefit studies, and even a clause from a grant the HOA had received for green development, a grant requiring at least one active eco-initiative. Linda had accepted the money but never fulfilled the terms. At the next HOA meeting, I stood before a packed room. Linda was there, icy as ever. I presented our plan, handed out state certifications, and highlighted the tax incentives. I showed how the HOA could save thousands and fulfill their grant requirements, all while helping the ecosystem. Linda objected, loudly, claimed it was a health hazard, that bees would terrorize the neighborhood. But the crowd wasn't buying it. Parents asked if their kids could learn about beekeeping. Gardeners asked about pollination. Even board members, once rubber stampers for Linda, shifted in their chairs. A week later, the vote passed. We installed the rooftop hives with help from a local beekeeping co-op. Emma brought her students to visit. Neighbors dropped off wildflower seeds for our garden. For a moment, things felt right. Then, someone tried to destroy it. We reviewed the security camera footage one evening after finding pesticide residue near the hives. The footage was damning Linda and another board member late at night, flashlights in hand, spraying near the hives and laughing. At the next community forum, I played the footage on a projector. Gasps, shouts, phones went up. People recorded everything. Linda turned pale. Her excuses fell apart. But the worst was yet to come. The footage triggered a formal state audit. Inspectors reviewed the HOA's books and uncovered years of misused funds, vacation reimbursements, inflated maintenance invoices, landscaping fees that didn't exist. Linda and her closest allies were indicted for fraud and environmental violations. The board was disbanded. A special election was called. Jessica Nguyen, a local activist and former science teacher, was elected interim president. Under her leadership, we rewrote the HOA regulations' clear guidelines for sustainable landscaping, protection for personal property rights, and the end of arbitrary fines. We created a shared pollinator zone on unused HOA land. Michael offered pro bono legal advice to homeowners facing unjust code enforcement. Olivia helped launch a rooftop pollinator network across 3 more neighborhoods. Emma and I started monthly workshops in our backyard gardening, composting, beekeeping. Lily designed the flyers herself. And Linda, she left the community. Her house was sold. But her name is still mentioned. Not in fear, but as a cautionary tale of what happens when control replaces community. Now, in the quiet of morning, I walk out into our yard. Bees hum gently overhead. Tomatoes are ripening again. And the fence that once divided our lives gone. In its place stands a trellis, woven with vines, open to the sky. It's funny how something as small as a bee can bring down something so entrenched. And sweeter still, how it can rebuild everything that matters.